Hi, this is Raphael, and I'm here to show you how to set up WordPress in your site right after installation. Basically, right now I have a site right here. It's a brand new site. The only thing different that I've done is I've put the login module right here. I have also here in another tab the administrator side of the site. And I have SH404 installed, and I just installed WordPress too. I haven't done any settings or configuration to anything. I literally just made that install. So to start off, I want to go ahead and check the WordPress settings, and just by going to general settings, this just gives me a quick overview of all the settings in WordPress. If there's anything that looks wrong, if you want to change the email address, you can. The WordPress address and the blog address should always stay something like this. The domain name will be the only thing that will change from site to site. If you do a migration from one site, from a development server to a live server, just make sure that you go in here and change this. But other than that, everything looks right. If this is set to no, that means that the installation was successful. If not, we have instructions on our site on how to make this be no rather than yes, since it's best for upgrading purposes. So after this, I want to make a menu item to WordPress, and by doing that I just go here to the menu, clicking on new, and I just click on WordPress, and let's give it a name of blog. Let's go over here to another tab and refresh, and now we have our blog. Here is the first post, the only post that there is right now, and here from the search bar all the way to the bottom of the blog roll is the WordPress sidebar. Now, say I don't want to show the WordPress sidebar within the component area, which is normally from, at least on this template, is from here to here. And say I want to move this sidebar over as a module. So first thing we need to do is disable this sidebar from showing inside of the component area. And to do this, I just go back to WordPress and back to the general settings, and right here this option that reads show sidebar from yes to no, it's easily confused by people who just think that it just means the sidebar will never show, but it just means within the component area. So let's save our changes, and now the sidebar is gone. So the next step is uploading the module sidebar, which I've downloaded already from our site, and you can see them all down here, all the things I will be installing throughout this tutorial. So right here, WordPress sidebar 1, we actually have 4 different sidebars, and I'll show you the difference between them here in a few. So let's go in and enable the sidebar. The left position is just fine with me right now, and let's do a refresh, and the WordPress sidebar shows right there now. You can obviously rename this to whatever you want. Let's name this, say we only want the links to show up, or yeah, let's just name it links, and this will bring me to my next point, which will be to show you how to use the widgets in WordPress. We'll go to appearance and then widgets. Here right now I have no widgets showing up over here, but the sidebar still shows the search, the pages, the archives, the categories, and the blog roll widgets. It just shows widgets as default, so the sidebar's not totally blank. in case the user doesn't have any custom widgets in it. But either way, let's add just the links widget to it because that's what I named it. And what I was talking about earlier was the 4 sidebars. There's 4 module sidebars that we offer, and they correspond to each one of these ones. So let me just save this, but say if I go over to sidebar 2 and I add the calendar. This calendar will never show in WordPress unless I have the sidebar 2 module installed and enabled in Joomla. Okay, so as of right now we're only using the sidebar 1 module, and you have the links widget in there. So let's do a refresh, and the links are only the ones showing up there. Okay, now I'm going to install another module for WordPress, and this is not really meant to go within the WordPress component, but more than likely just in your front page to show the latest posts. So it is mod WordPress latest, and all of these components that are in modules that I'm installing, they're all available for download in our core PHP site. So this is the module I just installed. Let's just name it latest posts. You can show the categories within this module, but I'm going to choose no for right now. And it has a bunch of other cool little options for you to pick from. And we're going to select only show it in the home, and we're going to show it in user 3 position. So let's save it. Let's go back here and let's go to the home page. That didn't go over so well. I didn't enable it. Alright, so it's enabled now. Try again. Wrong position. I think it's user 1. There we go. So it basically just shows the latest posts. If I had the categories radio box selected, it would just show categories over here, just a list of all the categories available. But as and you can choose how many entries to show, just a bunch of stuff. So next thing I want to do is I'm going to install WordPress as just a plugin, which in this case will be the WordPress SEO plugin. And okay, I'm going to bring this over here. And this is the root of my Joomla site. All of the WordPress content folder, if that installation goes correct, like I spoke earlier about that drop down either saying yes or no. If it was installed correctly and it reads no, it's under images and then WordPress, and then we have the plugins, themes, and upload folder. Uploads, it just all your media that you upload to your posts or pages will go in here. Themes, the themes available with the package, it just comes the default theme, which is what you see on the front page, and plugins, which is what we're going to install right now. So I've downloaded this all-in-one SEO pack plugin, and all you have to do is just drag it from your desktop over to, it'll probably be through FTP, upload it to your server, and I would actually unpackage it first on your local machine, and I would upload the folder, so then you don't have to unpackage it on the server, but whatever works, because now you don't need the zip file. All you need is the actual folder unpackaged. So, and that's really it. That's installed. So let's go over to WordPress and enable the plugin that we just installed. This is under the plugins menu, and we'll just activate it. Now, most plugins will add a sub menu item or sometimes a main menu item to just the menu bar over here. In this case, the all-in-one SEO pack adds a submenu item on the settings, but other ones will add it to any of the other menus, so you just want to check for them. So let's click on this, and it has a bunch of options, and just all for SEO purposes. Next thing I want to do is I want to install the WP admin component. This component allows front-end users to access the WordPress dashboard without having to go without you having to give them administrator access or manager access. So it's WP admin, and it'll put a menu item under the components menu in the administrator, but there's nothing to see here. And the only reason why we had to do this was because if not, Joomla doesn't allow you to link to the component in the front end. So let's go back and let's go to the main menu, and let's create another menu item, and let's call it, what's for WP admin, let's call it dashboard or blog dashboard. Actually, blog admin, whatever you want to call it. And let's save that, and actually let's make it only for registered users. Let's go to the front end and let's sign in. And now we have, well, actually I didn't refresh. So if you're signed out, you won't see that, obviously. And after you log in, the user will see blog admin. Now, depending on the role in WordPress of the user, it'll show a different menu and the user will have different access. Let me just go over here, and I'm just going to create a quick new user so you can actually see this. And we're going to say this person is going to be an author. So the person's an author, and let's go to the front end. Let's log out and let's sign in with this test user. Now right away, if the user visits the dashboard, they won't see, I mean, they can't do anything other than edit their profile and look at the tools. So what we need to do is we need to log in as an administrator and go to the user management, and now we will see this user here. Simply click on edit, and we can change the role. Let's change it to author. And now the user will see all the functionality that an author has. They can only create posts, add media, moderate comments. So let's create a new post. Now WordPress also has the ability to quick edit posts. You can change minor things, but it's still pretty useful. Either way, aside from that, this is what the WP admin component does, and it's really only useful for those that need their front-end users to access the dashboard. Okay, next thing I want to do is I want to show you the Joomla SEF and how it works with WordPress. So I'll go over here and enable it. And as you can see, now we have pretty URLs. Same thing goes with a post. Now, WordPress has the ability of setting your own custom URL structure, which is, to me, is extremely cool. So let's go to administrator and let's just change that real quick. This is under the settings menu under permalinks. And so let's change this to just month and name. And we can also change the category base. Let's name it just cat, and let's leave the tag base intact. Save our changes. Let's go back to the front end, click on blog to just refresh that permalink structure. And now you can see the URL that shows 2009, the month 04, and the slug or alias for the post. And now that we look at the categories, this is just the uncategorized category, but you can see the beginning of it, instead of being category, it'll be cat, because that's what we defined before. Okay, so you can change this on the fly as much as you want. Obviously, it's best to just figure a structure out before you launch your site live and never change it from there on. Now I want to do the exact same thing, but I want to do it with sh404.sef. So I'm just going to delete this, put it back to how it was, and I already have sh404.sef here, but I'm just going to turn Joomla SEF off, and I'll go to sh404.sef and I'll turn this on. Now we'll go to our blog, and right now this URL structure is just awful. So what we need to do is we need to install the sh404.sef plugin that we have available for download to on our site. And where you need to put it is under components, sh404.sef, and sef.ext. All you need to do after downloading the sh404.sef plugin is unzip it, and you'll find a file just like this one, com_wordpress.php. Just drag and drop it into this folder. You're probably going to be doing it through FTP, but after you drop it in there, just refresh the front page, and automatically sh404 will start recognizing it as you see the pretty URL. And right now, since we have those default settings back to normal, you'll see archives 1, but we want prettier links, and it just works the exact same way. You can change all this, but now with sh404, WordPress will automatically recognize that you're using this component, and will give you 3 extra options. It'll allow you to pick yes or no for adding the menu item alias, which is just this blog or whatever you name your menu item, and it's just the alias. So you can pick to show that or not to show that. Also, you can pick whether to show a trailing slash or not at the end of the URLs. So it can be either like this as it is right now, or like that. I prefer to show them the trailing slash, and on top of that we have added an option, since sh404 caches all the URLs for speed, and that's how it's built. Right now, if I change this to month and name and save my changes, if I go over to the blog, the URLs will still have the exact same structure. So what I need to do is I need to click on clear, and it'll clear the cache of sh404, and then you can visit your home page once again and click on blog, and then you'll see the new URLs that you just picked. So this is it for this tutorial. Hopefully it'll help a lot of people with their basic WordPress questions and how to set up their site and get things going. If you have any more questions, feel free to leave us a comment, submit a support ticket. Cheers.